Hey, so in this class we're going to look at dividing fractions. If you already know how to multiply fractions, this should be the easiest topic you will ever attempt. So let's start. First example we can do is 1 over 2 divided by 3 over 4, and let's walk through this together. So the way you do this is first, you need to know something called a same, change, flip. What that means is that you're going to keep the first fraction the same, change the division sign into multiplication, and flip the last fraction. So what that means is that we're going to have the same first fraction, so 1 over 2. Instead of division, we're going to have multiplication, so multiplied by, and then we're going to flip this last fraction. So instead of 3 over 4, we would have 4 over 3. So let's write that here. And yeah, now you basically have a multiplication question. It is that easy. And then from here, we already know all these rules. For multiplication, 1 times 4, because we multiply numerators together, is 4. And then over 2 times 3 is 6. And we are done. This is it for division. Once again, you basically convert it into a multiplication question, and then you solve it. So if you know multiplication, you already know how to do this. One thing you have to watch out for, because sometimes people get messed up on flipping this fraction, is that if you were dividing by a whole number. So let's say I had a question, 1 over 2 divided by 5. You might ask, okay, so we're going to do the same change flip thing again. So same change flip. I'm going to keep the first fraction the same, so 1 over 2. I'm going to change my division sign into multiplication, so multiplied by, and then I'm going to flip my 5. Okay, how do I flip my 5? Because that's a very common question. Well, we already know that anything over 1 is whatever that thing is, because 5 divided by 1 is 5. So for any whole number that you will ever see in your life, what you can do to make it a fraction is to put it over 1. This is very valid because, once again, fractions are basically smaller divisions. When you have a fraction like 5 over 1, this is the exact same as 5 divided by 1, which is 5. So we're trying to basically get back to this. So once again, if you have any whole number, the way to flip it is to put it over 1. And now flipping seems easy because now we have a fraction 5 over 1. So when you flip it, it becomes 1 over 5. And that is it. So once again, after this, you can actually start multiplying. So this would be 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 times 5, which is 10. And that is it. That is your answer, and you are done. And that's what would happen if you have a whole number. But in theory, this is the exact same thing because whole numbers are, once again, the exact same as over 1. But yeah, so let's move on to a few examples now. Okay, so first example. Once again, all you have to memorize is the same change flip rule. This is an acronym. Just memorize it, or kind of find another way to remember to change this sign and to flip this fraction. That's all you have to know. But yeah, so same. This first fraction is going to stay the same. So 1 over 2. Change the sign into a multiplication. So multiply. And then flip the fraction. So since it's 1 over 4, it will be 4 over 1. That's it. Now we can actually multiply. So 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. We have 4 over 2, which is technically correct, but we can go one step further. Since we know that fractions are divisions once again, 4 over 2 is the exact same as 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So this is also equal to 2, and now this is a better answer, but both of them are correct once again. So it really just depends on what you want to leave it as. Okay, second question. So same change flip again, just keep this in mind all the time. Here we have the same first fraction, so 3 over 4. Change division into multiplication, and then flip this fraction. Since it's a whole number, we already know that a whole number is the exact same as the whole number over 1. So 4 is the exact same as 4 over 1. And now we can actually flip it. So if you flip 4 over 1, you get 1 over 4. And now if you actually multiply, 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 4 is 16. And we are done. And that's basically it once again. All you have to know is to same change flip. That's it. Question number 3, let's do the exact same thing again. So same, 8 over 3, change the sign, so multiplication, flip the fraction. 7 over 3 becomes 3 over 7. 8 times 3 is 24. 3 times 7 is 21. We are done. Question number 4, same, so 3 over 5. Change division into multiplication, so multiply, and then flip this fraction into 19 over 6. And now if you actually multiply, 3 times 19 is 57. And if you cannot find that in your head, you can always do it on the side. So let's actually do that. So 19 times 3. 3 times 9 is 27. So 7 on the bottom, 2 on top. And then 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. So that's that. And then 5 times 6 is 30. And we are done this also. Question number 5, same thing. So same, 21 over 2. Change the sign, so multiplication, flip the fraction, so 2 over 3. Multiply it again. 21 times 2 is 42. 2 times 3 is 6. And we are done. Once again, it actually might start to get repetitive, but it's the exact same thing every time. Let's continue. So same, keep the first fraction the same, so 1 over 7. Change the division to multiplication, flip this fraction. So instead of 6 over 8, you would have 8 over 6. And we are done once again. Now let's actually multiply it. 1 times 8 would be 8. 7 times 6 is 42. And something else that you actually have to know, other than how to multiply fractions, is the multiplication timetables. So if you have trouble finding what 7 times 6 is, you definitely need to review those, because all of this, the entire topic, assumes that you already know all that. So once again, just memorize the timetables correctly and know how to multiply fractions. That's pretty much it. Question number 7. So let's keep the first fraction the same again. So same. Change the sign to multiplication. And then flip this fraction. 2 is the exact same as 2 over 1. So if you flip 2 over 1, you get 1 over 2. And now from here, multiply. So 15 times 1 is 15. 4 times 2 is 8. And we are done. Question number 8. Keep the first fraction, so same. We will have 7 over 9. Change multiplication. Flip this fraction. So instead of 6 over 11, we'd have 11 over 6. Multiply, so 7 times 11 is 77. 9 times 6 is 54. And we are done. Question number 9, pretty simple once again. So same, keep the first fraction the same. 12 over 13. Change division to multiplication. Flip the next fraction. So instead of 6 over 4, we would have 4 over 6. Multiply again. So 12 times 4 is 48. 13 times 6 is 60 plus 18, which is 78. Let's do it on the side again. So 13 times 6. 6 times 3 is 18, so 8 and 1 on top. And then 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so 78. And we are done this once again. And then last question. So same, keep the first fraction the same. So 14 over 15. Change division into multiplication. Flip the fraction. So instead of 4 over 6, we'd have 6 over 4. These ones are a bit more difficult in terms of multiplying, but 14 times 6 is 60 plus 24, so 84. And then bottom, 15 times 4 is 60. Once again, let's check both of them very quickly on the side. So 14 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24, so 4 on the bottom, 2 on top. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So that's that. And then 15 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20, so 0 on the bottom, 2 on top. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. So we are correct once again. So we are done this question, and that's it for dividing fractions. So, yeah.